We are following breaking news out of Mobile County, where sheriff's investigators have made 2 arrests in the death of 20-month-old Dakota Burke-Everett.
That's right. You're looking live now of Summer Everett, the girl's mother, and her newlywed husband, Christopher Knapp. The two have been charged with murder and child abuse.
Fox 10 News reporter Katie Weiss is live at the Mobile County Metro Jail, where the couple is being held right now. Katie, join us, please.
What do you have to say about what is happening here?
Do you have anything to say to your family and friends?
Do you miss your daughter?
Did you love your daughter?
Little Dakota Everett is dead. And they're saying you're the one.
Yeah, you see, reporters are trying to question Summer Everett, and also we have a crew with Christopher Knapp as they're being brought into the Mobile County Metro Jail. You're looking at live pictures right here. Again, they were arrested this afternoon and charged with the death of Dakota Everett Burke.
Yeah, and her mother there, Summer Everett, not saying anything, not answering any of our reporters' questions, just sniffing back the tears. And now as we walk up here, you can see Christopher Knapp. There he is, now on his way to be transferred to Metro Jail. Both of them arrested just today and also just married Monday, days after that 20-month-old died in the hospital from severe trauma and burns. Fox News reporter Katie Weiss has been working this story. Let's go to her live now with more information. Katie, what can you tell us? What did they say?
Well, Lenise, they really had nothing to say, but I will tell you there was a lot of emotion. Summer Everett appeared to be very upset. She was even crying as they were bringing her into the Sally Port just moments ago. We tried to ask her questions about this case. We asked her why she thinks she's being plugged as the person responsible for the death of this 20-month-old little girl, but she would not speak. I also tried to ask Summer's new husband, that is Christopher Knapp, and I also did not get any responses from him about why he's being arrested for murder and aggravated child abuse in the death of 20-month-old Dakota Burke-Everett. Now, I was the first reporter to find out about this arrest, and we've been waiting out here for this perp walk to happen. We're going to continue to work hard to find more answers in this case and get justice for little Dakota. For now, reporting live in Mobile, I'm Katie Weiss for Fox 10 News.
Meantime, a mother is charged with 2 counts of negligent homicide after her son and daughter were killed in a house fire.
Police say the children were left alone while the mother was having her hair styled. This all happened Monday in Louisiana. Investigators say the 2 children, only 3 and 4 years old.
The mother, identified as Sierra Johnson, told investigators she arranged for a neighbor to take care of the toddlers, but police say that wasn't true. They say Johnson returned home only after she found out about the fire. Meantime, a neighborhood is mourning for the family.
And now we want to go back out to that breaking news story. Mobile County Sheriff Sam Cochran speaking now.
Covering it up, or how do you?
Well, we can't get into all those finer details, but the mere fact that both charged with murder would speak to that question that they're both involved in one form or fashion or another. I would say that we do want to thank members of the public that have helped us on this case. We got a lot of tips through social media. We've located additional witnesses through social media. A lot of people have stepped forward to give the detectives the necessary evidence, and so we thank our partners in helping us with this case, the District Attorney's Office and the medical examiners, as well as the medical professionals
and they were
that
both
worked in this case.
They were both pretty silent, didn't say anything while they were doing this walk. I mean, were they like this in your entire dealings with these guys, or was there a point where they just stopped talking to you guys and cooperating?
There were some initial statements which showed some conflicts. And then shortly after that, in our term we use, they lawyered up, that we were contacted by 2 attorneys that said they represented them and would forbid them to speak to us. And so, as I've said, that's a kind of an impediment, but certainly it's not a deal killer in this case. Again, we've had several other witnesses, you know, people very close to them that were able to step forward and tell us what we needed to know to progress and go forward in this case.
What kind of evidence can you say you've got against these 2 folks here that were arrested?
Well, that will all play out in court. We think it's very substantial evidence. Certainly it will sustain the charges that we have against them.
And you said witnesses. Talk about the interviews you have conducted so far.
Well, the detectives, probably 6 or 7 you see around here, have all interviewed several different people. People in one form or fashion have evidence or testimony they can give.
Family members?
Well, we have family members, we have friends, we have relatives, and we have medical professionals, all of which we believe will contribute to the evidence in this case.
Will they be allowed to attend
the deliberate? Was this a deliberate act, or was this an accidental thing that led to her death?
Once again, the charges speak to the actions. You know, the charge of murder speaks to deliberate and stuff like that, and the applicable law. So they've been charged with murder and child abuse. And of course, it's in the hands of the district attorney's office now to take the case forward. We have been in constant consultation with them, and they'll go forward in the presentation of the evidence, and we're just glad we're at this point.
Her funeral is Saturday. Will they be allowed to attend the funeral? Will her mother be allowed to attend her daughter's funeral?
She'll have a bond hearing, and but if she's out on bond, I guess she could go. If she's not out on bond, we'll make no special arrangements through this sheriff's office.
And do you know when that bond hearing will take place? Will that be tomorrow?
I think it will be tomorrow, but I'm not sure at this time.
And can you talk about a little bit more in detail about the extent of this child's injuries? We've heard a lot about burns on her face, on her hands and feet. I mean, were these cigarette burns? Can you talk about the extent and severity of these injuries?
I would just say burns, bruises, and trauma. Without getting into more of the specifics, that will certainly come out in court. But the detectives have said they've never seen a child endure so many continuing injuries leading up prior to the injury that resulted in the death.
Would you say that she was actually tortured?
Well, I'm just saying injuries inflicted upon this, and that this child endured these injuries over a period of time leading up to prior to the actual injury.
Any indication on how long that period of time was? I mean, when do we believe that these violent activities
I just can't get into so many details of the case. We really put a lot out there. This child endured a tremendous amount of injury for a period of time, and then later endured injuries that led to her death.
What did the sheriff's department think about them getting married during this investigation?
Probably the exact same thing all of you all are thinking.
And what is that?
Just what I said. It's pretty odd. Never seen it before. To get married before they've even buried the child.
Were they both equally involved in the abuse?
Well, again, I can't speak to all the details. They're both charged with the same offenses, and so that speaks to those charges.
But when they got married, they had a sense that you guys were narrowing in on them?
They probably did when they saw two detectives down there watching them, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And can you say what the final injury was that caused her death?
That will come from the testimony of the professionals. I can't add anything more. Thank you for your coverage, because through all of your coverage, it helped us bring witnesses forward. Thank you.
And you've been in law enforcement for a long time here, but is this different for you? I mean, we're talking about a 20-month-old baby here.
It's always tough when you have a child of that age, that innocent, that can't speak for themselves, and so that's what the detectives have done.
It seems like it took a while to make an arrest. Could you just speak to how convoluted this case must be?
Well, I don't think this has been lengthy to make an arrest, but as I've described, there have been some impediments to the investigation, simply being that you've got a victim that cannot speak to what has happened to them. You've got the closest people to them not speaking and telling the truth. And then, of course, the baby did not pass away for 7, 8 days, so she was in critical condition, so the detectives were working with limit at that point in time. And then, of course, when the two suspects here lawyered up, that also created some impediments. And, obtaining search warrants and things like that can take time, and we went quite some distances to interview certain people.
And have you seen any remorse from these people, any tears shed, any sign that they're sad at all or remorseful for what happened, any kind of emotion?
They seem to be pretty emotionless.
And I've heard Dakota has a sister. Where's her sister at this time?
I can't speak to that.
Is she in the family's custody, or is...
I just can't speak to the whereabouts of other people.
But she was interviewed, correct?
I would just tell you we've interviewed a number of people, and one child that was on the news that we interviewed. We went through the court process to interview a small child.
But did that child live with Dakota?
I think I've said all I can say. Again, we're going to terminate it, but thank you again for your coverage and interest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
So you're seeing now that was the sheriff of Mobile County Sheriff's Office speaking to us now about the details of this horrific case. He said that she endured some severe beating prior to this original incident of her being taken to the hospital. So as you can see now, these are some new terrible details that are coming out, and we're learning that this small child, little Dakota, must have gone through a lot of pain and suffering. It is very terrible. We're going to continue to keep you updated with these details as things move forward. Live in Mobile, I'm Katie Weiss for Fox 10 News.
All right, thank you, Katie. And once again, Christopher Knapp and Summer Everett were both arrested this afternoon. You just saw part of the live perp walk as they were brought into the Sallyport of the Mobile County Metro Jail, all having to do with the death of Dakota Burke-Everett here. That's
right. The sheriff saying they are charged with murder and child abuse. This case now goes to the DA's office. And of course, we know little Dakota will be laid to rest on Saturday.